We worked very intimately with the Air Force at Kirtland Air Force Base there in New Mexico, and they were cool because they let us use the Pavehawk H-60 helicopter, which is featured in the film, C-130s, A-10s, and a great many of their machines, you know, also the Osprey, which is a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, which is a marvel of scientific achievement. So it was great to have all that hardware there and for real, and that's just one more contribution to the realism of the film.
Most of our toys here are Air Force toys, so we went to Chuck Davis, who's the coordinator of all DoD, Department of Defense coordination in Los Angeles as a motion picture liaison, and he introduced us to the Air Force, and they have just opened the doors to us.
As we read the script, we're breaking it down much like a unit production manager does. When does the production company want to film the movie? Where do they want to film it? What types of military equipment is necessary to support the storyline as assets? And then we put it all together. It's like putting a huge puzzle together. Our initial discussions with the production company revealed that they wanted and needed the A-10 aircraft in their movie. Also, we had the very delightful discovery that there was a female A-10 fighter pilot. One of the heroes of the movie is a female A-10 fighter pilot. So we put the best of both worlds together.
I was called in to help Moon Bloodgood, the main actress, with her role as a female A-10 pilot. So obviously the gun is what we're all centered around.
Right. She's been definitely showing her the ropes, and they got her into a flight suit, they got her down into a simulator, they took her through all of the different briefings.
So I really watched her and talked a lot with her about what would I have a G-suit on, making it so that it's as believable as possible.
Really, I'm just trying to coordinate with Moon to see what I could do to help her out and exactly what, you know, she thought she would benefit from my knowledge.
We love working with the movie guys, and my job is to basically run around and make sure that everybody's playing well together, that everybody's listening to one another, that the production guy says, I need this, and the maintenance guy says, I need this. My job is to come in and say, well, how can we do this a different way? And then everybody is happy.
And cut, very, very nice.
It's critical to us to make you feel like you're really fighting this war, and you can't do that in the absence of that hardware. If I'm just on a soundstage and telling the actors to imagine that a C-130 is there, that does not get me the same result as a C-130 being there, as a Pavehawk helicopter with its incredible downwash taking off and landing, getting everybody's head right.
The molten metal definitely scared the hell out of me. Luckily on set, you don't actually have time to worry so much about how you're doing that. You just sort of say, okay, we're gonna have to work on that. Get some guy working on fluid sims back at ILM so we can hopefully be all right.
Well, these are some movies showing how we developed the lava. Our fluid supervisor took our current simulation technology and we started running sim takes, just taking the animation and the iterations of the animation and just getting a look of how he's going to cover it, how viscous it was going to be, how much we wanted to see of his face, how he'd get out of it, that kind of thing. We then started working with smooth particle hydrodynamics, which is where you start simulating with lots of little particles, but they all interact. So if you start pulling some, then the others will follow. And it's really got a physical, when you start playing with it and start running simulations, it really feels like a liquid. And the whole system works with particles, but it works off temperature. You set the initial temperature, the temperature cools down, and the temperature is then driving the viscosity, and the viscosity also drives the temperature. It's sort of a whole system where you just have to hit go and you start getting these really cool effects. So we then started using this in conjunction with the fluid sim. It actually worked really well doing the two together. And we could also use it to interact with him. So here's a shot where he's walking out of the lava. And again, we'd sort of drizzle, as a starting point, drizzle it over him. And then he could just start walking through it. And as he walks through it, it kicks off into the distance. It's actually great fun to use.
Fluid sim can take a long time to render, to create the simulation itself. So the turnaround is very slow. And it's the kind of things that you still want to art direct, or you still want to say, no, I want that to happen at that frame. And I want that, oh, okay, now we need to change the animation. Oh, now we change the animation. We need to resim to be sure that we're on sync. So we tag them and we say, okay, that one we know that we're gonna have to start early just to be sure. So you don't want to keep that for the last minute thinking, oh, we forgot that shot.
We built a gas station from the ground up, and it's kind of funny because many people drove by saying, how did you guys find this location? I mean, that's a compliment to the construction and paint department. It was a barren desert. We brought some graders in, plowed out the field, and built it from the ground up.
It's a gas station. It was created as a set, but it was built as a structural element. So then we had to go in and weaken the building and remove components so that we could cause that to collapse. And then we have to put our charges in to create the fireball. When the charge goes off, it blows the fireball out in the direction we aim it.
The philosophy on the film has been to do as much here practically as we can. So, where we might have done, say, the fire's miniature or some kind of digital fire in a different movie.
Shut it down!
We really have been trying to keep these full-scale effects that we can shoot with our, sort of traditional camera gear, and we will create computer-generated harvester to sort of match into that photography.
So we had to take a 28-foot tanker and recreate it with lightweight, thin materials that we could blow up safely. So we basically fabricated the thing, loaded it with explosives and gasoline.
And what we're going to do is we're going to, when the tow truck gets to the street at a mark, we're going to push the button. The tanker's going to explode. 350 milliseconds later, the gas station, just the back half of it, is going to blow up with a big fireball. And another 350 milliseconds later, the gas station is going to have the final fireball.
So it's like a 3-stage explosion and several hundred gallons of gasoline and a very large fireball and a big debris radius.
I think they have 6 cameras on it and 1 helicopter.
The camera people, they all start their cameras on remote switches and get in a truck and drive away. There's cameras up close that are protected in crash housings. Physically, the cameras are fine. The heat's just a few seconds and then it's over with.
This is the explosion point. This is where the truck will be when the tanker first goes up.
In a 200-foot area, there's going to be plastic, wood, and sheet metal falling out of the air.
How high is the fireball in that
On the last one?
Yeah.
On the last one, the fireball is probably maybe 80 feet in the air and 80 feet in diameter.
Okay.
Then as Gary will say, 3, 2, 1, action, Jim. There'll be action on the truck, counter move on the left, the helicopter will be out here, we'll get that, and then bang.
That was part of the joy of the picture, was to create that heat and that impact of the fire really being in your face. A lot of eyebrows were lost, but here we are.